This is the weekly review for the week of August 29th to September 2nd, as well as this week's Sunday preparation. So, coming into the week for EU, I was highlighting this breaker, or this FVG here, and this breaker, because on the previous week we ran into premium of the daily range and filled in the daily fair value gap, and we formed a mentorship setup here on the H1 and broke market structure here and here. And I was anticipating price to retrace back into these PD arrays, which were also in premium of the range here, OTE, and then sell off. Now, that did happen, but the reason why I got fucked on Euro this week was because of all of this consolidation. GU was the pair to trade because GU had perfect bearish price action where EU was held in consolidation. So I was shorting all in here and I was just getting fucked because they were holding this in consolidation and not moving it down. Where GU, apart from Monday, all of the days had the bearish power 3 structure where price opened, formed the high of the day in London and the low of the day in London close. Open, high, low and close, open, high, low and close, open, high, and then this high was obviously made in New York because NFP was on Friday, and then close in or low and close here in London close session. So GU was the pair to be trading. So on Monday, I ended up taking a short on both EU and GU because we formed a setup here. We came into OTE, into the two PD arrays, H1, fair value gap, and breaker. And setup I took was on the M15 with, this was a lower time frame setup with an M3 fair value gap and an M5 breaker market structure, but I didn't take that one. I just waited. Once I saw this move here, this displacement, is when I got in, and then we had this SMT here with GU, and the same thing here. GU never got into premium of its H1 raid range or displacement range. And then here is the SMT, that displacement down, breaking market structure, breaker, and fair value gap. So the only thing about this trade that was not good was the time of entry, which was like almost at the end of London close. But the reason I took it was because it was everything that I was waiting for. Like, we were in premium inside the PD arrays. We got a low time frame setup. So that's why I took it. So it was really just the time of day that was off. And then I held those throughout the night, and we just went into consolidation. Same thing here. And then Tuesday, we ran previous day's high on both pairs, which took me out. Then on Tuesday, we had the sell here on GU, where we ran previous day's high, broke M15 market structure, and came up into premium of this displacement range here. So we had displacement here and then consolidated. So then this is the range to use based on what ICT was showing in the mentorship videos, and then came back up to the breaker and fair value gap and sold off, taking previous day's low. Now, because EU was held in consolidation, for whatever reason, I was looking to long this, and I was just looking at like a paper trade. I didn't take any trades on Tuesday, but we had a SMT with London low. And I ended up just looking to long this for some reason. I don't know why. But there was really no clean setup for shorts on EU here. The only clean setup was this Power 3 setup on EU, where we made the low of the day at 11 a.m. here, which is London close, and broke market structure. And just based on the Power 3, we should retrace back into premium, or at least the mean threshold of the daily range, which is what we got here. So this was a logical trade. Also, we had the buy side here and fair value gap to add confluence for the targeting just above the mean threshold of the daily range. I just wasn't at the charts at this time when the setup formed, so that's why I didn't take it. Then on Wednesday, I took another short here. And looking back, I probably shouldn't have, because we ran this sell side liquidity, which was 4 equal lows. So this was like high time frame, all of these lows here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I was thinking on this day was that like we formed the high of the day in London. Again, I was basing this off of what bearish PO3 should be on the daily chart, or on the daily time frame, where we make the high of the day in London and then retrace in New York to make a lower high and fall off or fall down. So if we look at GU on Wednesday, that's exactly what we did. We made the high of the day in London. New York retraces and forms the lower high. Came back into this M15 fair value gap here. I was looking to see if it would come back up into this H1 fair value gap, but it didn't. And then it fell off. EU, I was looking for that same logic, and we formed a short-term setup here in premium of the daily range. This raid here broke market structure with displacement right here. And then I got in at this M3 fair value gap and M5 breaker. And I was just targeting these lows here. But the actual setup, because we ran those 4 equal lows, was this setup here, where we rated those lows, broke market structure here, and came back into premium, or discount rather, of the displacement range, whether it was from this high or this high. Here's a fair value gap, here's a breaker, and another fair value gap here. So the low was not violated, and the long setup was what played out. So that's why I took a loss here on EU. On Wednesday. So moving on to Thursday, we did end up having a pretty decent setup on Thursday. But after taking both of those losses, I was pretty much done for the week on EU and GU. But we came back up into this fair value gap, broke market structure on M15, and then had the entry here to run previous day's low. And then we had the institutional order flow entry drill here at the M5 fair value gap. And another one down here to take or run into this H1 bullish fair value gap, which is what I was originally targeting on Monday with the short that I took there. And on GU, we also got a good entry, or had a good entry, where we traded back up into the fair value gap, again made the high of the day in London, broke market structure, H1 and M15 here, and then from the displacement range high to low, we came back up into premium in the M15 breaker and had this M15 fair value gap. Oh, and also another thing to note is that in most of these days, like on Wednesday, we came up into premium of the previous day's range as well, which is another good bearish sign. It didn't happen on Thursday, but then it did happen on Friday again. And then Friday on EU was relatively clean in that we came into this H4 order block after H4 break in market structure here. It's probably better on this chart here. The H4 order block here. And NFP just pretty much chopped around. We shouldn't be trading this anyway, ICT says. So I didn't really do anything. I was just watching to see what price did. And so far we just respected this H4 order block and traded lower. And the same thing with GU. We came up into premium, hit this breaker again, and traded lower. So I didn't do anything on Friday. But the reason for this was that the reason that EU was held in consolidation was because EG was just running up. And I just never really look at EG. But we see this from Monday all the way to Thursday, just straight vertical, which is why EU is held in consolidation. Now for US30, in terms of managing my swing position that I had, on this one that I got in, I was able to get 0.02 lots. So I took a partial here at this weekly fair value gap, which is in discount of the range. Then I also had a limit here in this daily fair value gap at the 25% level, but we never hit that. So I was just watching price, and I set a new limit here above these relative equal highs, and luckily I got tagged in on NFP. So this is my third compound position, and my stop is above previous week's high here. So if we're going to continue being bearish and take out these relative equal lows here, that one and that one, and also the range low basically from this retracement leg that we had here, I don't think previous week's high should be violated. So I think my stop is safe above here, and it's at a logical area. And also I noted that we had an SMT with NAS, where NAS did not take a Wednesday high, where all the other indices did. And pretty much what I'm thinking for next week is, because Monday is a holiday for the US, we're probably going to just have a bunch of consolidation. And we have this fair value gap and breaker here. So I'm thinking that we could have some type of consolidation, and then Tuesday makes the high of the week and raids Monday's high, and then we fall off and continue lower. That's pretty much the same logic that I'm going to be using on EU, because we have the same impulsive move down from NFP. So Monday should just be consolidation, and then Tuesday we probably retrace and take Monday high and form the high of the week there. But in terms of targets, that what I think we're going to reach for is we have these relative equal lows here. This low, take out this here. This low here and this low here. So I think those are going to be on the menu for next week. And then we have this previous month's low. Actually, this is the wrong chart. I noted them here. And I opened up two of these. That's why. This one's where my high time frame chart. So yeah, we have the two equal lows here. And then this is previous month's low. This is August's low. So I think those should be targeted next week. And with GU, we have the pandemic low. So the low that was made in March of 2020, all the way back here. I think that's the one that they're going to run for this week. So yeah, I'm just basically going to be watching for any type of retracement into the respective fair value gaps here that we have on pretty much all of the foreign currencies, Euro, GU, and then the indices with US30. And then for Bitcoin, I added a second compound position. My initial limit was inside this daily fair value gap here at the 25% level. Right there. And just by a small amount, I didn't get tagged. And then I saw this big displacement down, so I just put a limit at the mean threshold, and I got tagged in here. I thought that I was actually going to get stopped out at or on NFP because my limit or my stop loss was above here. But so far we're just consolidating, and then we have these relative equal lows down here, which I'm going to take a partial at. I believe my position is 0.04 lots, so I'm just going to take half of it off here at these equal lows, and then my ultimate draw on liquidity, where I'm going to take all my profits or close all my swing positions, is at these equal lows on the weekly time frame. That low and that low is what I'm targeting. So yeah, going into next week is just, for me, continuation of bearishness. So we'll see what happens.